All right, I see that I have 1 o'clock on my end, and we do have an action-packed webinar today. So there are some people that are still joining, and that's okay. But Mary, I'd like to turn it over to you to maybe get us started here.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Mary Wiley, and I'm Executive Director with Niagara Connects, and we're just really happy to see so many people joining us today. It reflects the fact that the Niagara Connects network of people and the knowledge tools that Niagara Connects leads on behalf of the Niagara-wide community have been built from the ground up by the community over the past 8 years or so. And it really also demonstrates the level of commitment and interest in accessing relevant, reliable, Niagara-focused knowledge for planning, learning, and innovation. And all of that enables us to work together for community action toward a stronger future for our Niagara. So the community's commitment and interest was also evident throughout the building of the Knowledge Exchange over the past 2.5 years. We had 40-plus volunteers who worked on the different committees to build the structure. As well, our Niagara Connects Council, which is a group of 15 community volunteers who are committed to evidence-informed planning for a strong Niagara, have invested many hours in guiding the building of the NKE tool, and many of those people are on the webinar today. The Ontario Trillium Foundation has invested in the construction of the NKE by providing funding for Niagara Connects to hire knowledge brokers to build the NKE so that it will be user-driven and an accessible tool. So in effect, the OTF is the first sponsor of the Niagara Knowledge Exchange. In addition to that, you'll note as you look at the NKE platform that there are 15 community partners, and that list is growing, who have invested in the Niagara Knowledge Exchange as subscribers. So the return on investment is a combination of accessing community intelligence, community engagement opportunities, and opportunities to transfer knowledge. So all of those strengthen planning and accountability reporting for any organization that wishes to access the knowledge on the Knowledge Exchange. So in short, the NKE is built by the community, and it will continue to be shaped and developed by your needs. So one of the things we want you to do today is to sort of see yourself in the tool and how this tool can enhance your work. We want to hear from you today and going forward about how you are using or planning to use the NKE tool so that we can continue to refine and improve the platform together, because it's a community tool. And we'll talk today about how you can contribute to the content on the platform. This is really important. It makes me think of John F. Kennedy. And to paraphrase his words in one of his famous speeches a bit, part of what we want you to think about today as you take this guided tour of the NKE is, as well as asking yourself, what can the NKE do for me to strengthen my work? We'd also like you to say to yourself, what can I do, what knowledge can I share to strengthen the NKE tool so that everyone in Niagara can benefit from it for their planning? So I'll turn it over back to Sarah Webster, and she's going to take us on our guided tour, be our main tour guide. The other people who've been working as part of our team to prepare this webinar and execute it today are Sarah Bishop, our Niagara Connects knowledge broker, and Liz Lusk from the Gestalt Collective, who is working in the background to make sure that all of the technical details are working well. So back over to Sarah Webster, knowledge broker.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. So as Mary said, I am your tour guide for today. Just a few tech pieces, and then we'll kind of launch into the tour itself. The presentation is being recorded today, and we will make that recording available on the NKE within the next week. So we had a lot of people write to us saying, I'm interested, but whatever time conflict has come up, I can't join. And we are recording this webinar and all of our webinars going forward so that we can help accommodate your schedule, so that even if you can't join us on the day, you can still access the information later. So you will be receiving a direct link how to access the recorded webinar, and we encourage you to, of course, share that with other colleagues who can't be here today. The participant lines are all muted at this point. That's just to help us cut down on some of the background noise, but also help you. We know that a lot of people are joining in small groups today, and we certainly encourage you to have those discussions in small groups that are often sparked as we go through this type of content. If you do have any questions at all, we are going to be pausing halfway through the presentation for questions, and then we'll have some discussion time at the end. But if you have questions during the demonstration itself, please feel free to use the chat pod on your screen. So down the left-hand side at the very bottom, you'll see a prompt to type your message. If you type it in and click the send button, Liz will be keeping an eye on those questions and putting them in a queue so that when we get to the Q&A portion of the webinar today, she'll be able to bring those forward and we'll be able to address them together. So really, as Mary mentioned, the purpose of the NKE is to help you access the most trusted, comprehensive, Niagara-wide knowledge that's out there. And to also stay on top of the information and latest news that's going on in the community. And I say news not in a media news kind of way, but in a current context setting kind of way. It's an opportunity for you to interact with your community peers and really to contribute your expertise and perspective. As Mary said, it's a two-way street. So we've been careful that we're trying to not call, and you'll notice this throughout the presentation today, that we're not referring to the Niagara Knowledge Exchange as a website because we see that it's a little bit different than a traditional website. A traditional website generally is about pushing information out to the community, but we envision this platform to be a platform itself. It's a tool for the community and built by the community, and it's dependent on the push and pull of information. So we will help push information out, but we also need to pull information from you, and we need contributions from you as well to help shape the site. So the purpose of the webinar today is to give you that guided tour of the NKE and some tips about how to navigate the platform. I'll be giving you some examples also of how you might use the NKE to support your own work, as well as how you can contribute to the NKE going forward. I'll review the first half of the website, of the platform, there I did it right there, of the platform, and then I'll pause about halfway through for some questions to come up. And then we'll go through the second half and then again leave time for questions and discussion at the end. So I just want to acknowledge as well that we do have quite a diverse group on the phone today. Some of you, I'm sure, have clicked around the site yourself and you're familiar with it. But as well, for some people, this will be your first time on the NKE. So please do ask questions if something isn't clear. And if you're not hearing something that you're curious about, please, of course, speak up, because this is the chance to kind of have that discussion, and we'll continue to have these conversations going forward. So to actually do the demonstration or the tour, I'm going to be sharing my desktop. So you'll see your screen change in just a minute. It depends on how it's easiest for you personally to view this. If you want, you can choose to, there should be a button to make your screen full screen on your end, and that kind of cuts some of the clutter away. You can get out of full screen by clicking the escape button on your keyboard, or there should be a button on your screen that says exit full screen. I encourage you to toggle back and forth between those two options. If you are in full screen and you have a question, just toggle back to the non-full screen and ask away using that chat pod. So here we are, Niagara Connect's Niagara Knowledge Exchange. So the platform itself is built to get you quickly to the information you need, as well as provide linked or related content, so that even if you're looking for one thing, our hope is that we'll spark some new ideas by linking you to relevant or related content as well. There are 4 main content areas to the platform, and you'll see them listed at the top in the top navigation here on your screen. Community calendar, resources and publications, partners and projects, and community blog. And you'll see this same color scheme be pulled throughout each of those content areas as we go through the site. This top navigation allows you directly to link to any of the four content areas or any of these subpages, and we'll certainly look at those a bit later as well. Your top search bar is your platform-wide search. If you kind of have an idea, if you're looking for a specific piece of content, a specific resource, and you know some of the key words in the title, you can certainly use that search bar at the top. But we'll also look at a few other ways to navigate through the site. As you scroll down, you'll see that the main real estate of the site, the main content area down the middle of your screen, is dedicated to each of those four content areas. And this profiles the latest content that's been added. So for the community calendar, this is the next upcoming event. For resources and publications, it's the latest resource to be added, latest partner and project, or latest community blog. At the bottom of your screen, in the footer, and this will stay static across all areas of the site, we've put some general information about our network, Niagara Connects, as well as a form to help you get connected. So our Niagara Connects community, we have over 1,400 people signed up. If you received the invitation to this webinar directly, then you're already on our distribution list. If someone forwarded it to you, then you're not yet, and we hope that you will consider becoming part of our community. And this is the way that you can do that, is by filling out this form. By being a member of our community, not only do you then receive targeted invitations for upcoming events, but you'll also receive our monthly e-newsletter. And that e-newsletter just links you to the latest content that's been added across all four areas of the NKE each month. As we move back up, on your right-hand side, this is your other option for navigation, down your right-hand side of your screen. You'll see first that we've listed 12 Niagara sectors, and these are the sectors that were listed in the Niagara Connects Living in Niagara report. So if you come on and you're coming from a specific sector and looking for information from that sector, you can do so, and you can filter the content on the site specifically by clicking on any of these sectors that are listed here. So for example, if I click on environment, what will come up is it will look very similar to the home page, but you'll see that we are filtered by environment. And this lists then any events, there's a lot of them, resources and publications, there's a lot of them, partners and projects, and then blogs that have specifically been linked to that particular sector. So that's one way for you to really focus in on the type of content that you're looking for. In addition, we have, I go all the way back up here, you'll see that below the sectors we've listed tags. And I'm not sure how many people are familiar with tagging, but it is becoming more common on sites online now. In the past, old websites, you would have to kind of follow a cookie crumb trail to get to the content you were looking for, and there would be multiple subpages. And the expectation is that it was relying on the user to follow that cookie crumb trail and figure out where the information was housed. Tags allow us to not have to load a piece of content to a specific area of the site, but instead allow it to be linked across multiple areas. So when you see tags listed, and we can certainly view them either, this is called a tag cloud, or as an alphabetical listing from A to Z. But these tags are common topic words. So you'll see that some of them are larger than others: children, mental health, sustainability. These are the topics that have been used as tags across the most content on the site. So for example, we've got police here at the bottom, and it's smaller than these other words at the top. And that just means that police has fewer resources tagged as police right now on the NKE. That's not static. The weighting of these words will change from day to day and week to week as new content is added to the site, and as the content focus shifts depending on what content is added. All of these words are hyperlinks that allow you, again, to filter, focus your search for content on the NKE. So for example, if I click on poverty, You'll see again that I'm searching specifically by that word. And again, what's going to come up is calendar, resources, publications, partners and projects, and blogs that have specifically been tagged with the word poverty. And you'll start to see that content on the NKE can have more than one tag, and this allows us to cross and relate content across different areas of the site. So now let's jump back and actually start combing through the 4 content areas of the site. So if you know specifically that you want to see what's on here in terms of events, then we're going to directly visit the community calendar. So the purpose of this area is really to feature community events that will accelerate change, build community capacity, facilitate collaboration, share and spread like innovation, and enable that evidence-informed community planning to happen. So you would use this area of the NKE if you want to know what's going on in the community. If you want to see that rhythm of activity, certainly we'll see a higher, an influx of activity happen probably in the fall as everyone kind of gets back off summer holidays, and probably next summer we'll see a dip in activity as people go away on holidays. It's also an opportunity for you to register for events of interest and then plan activities and promote your own events. So you'll see that as from the main area of the content calendar, it gives us quick listings of the upcoming events that are happening. If we click on a specific event, that content page will show us the event date and time, what group or network or organization is organizing the event, the location of the event, the cost, a short description, and then an active link to either read more or register, and that usually takes you outside of the NKE to the event-specific web page. As you scroll down, you'll also see that this is where the tagging becomes so important. The NKE automatically generates related content based on the tag words or sectors that have been chosen. So if we click on related projects, we see that there's the Niagara Services sector and the Building a Mental Health and Addictions Charter for Niagara, because they're also tagged with mental health. If we click on resources, it comes up with other resources that might be of interest considering the content that you're currently looking at. And certainly all of these are hyperlinked so that you can jump directly to that content. Below, the same general template would apply where we have our sectors listed, our tags, the opportunity for you to share this knowledge or this content using social media. And then you can click forward or backwards using your footer buttons here to previous or next event. If we go back to the main calendar, you also have the option to filter the information that you're looking at in this specific area of the site. So you'll see that we do, this is the dark blue like community calendar, and you'll see that color scheme pulled through. We've got a filter bar at the top that allows you to filter by sector, by choosing a sector from below, by tag word, by how many events you're looking at once. Right now it's just defaulted to 5 events that you're looking at, but you can certainly have more than that come up on one screen. And then there's calendar view, and this is, I love this part. I'm a visual person, so this is helpful for me to look at it in this way, look at the upcoming events in this way. And this displays, as you can see, what's going on in the community. If you hover over top of an event, a short description will come up, and you can click on that to go to the specific event page. So for example, if you're working, say in the health and wellness sector, and you'd like to plan a region-wide fundraising event in October, by looking at the calendar, if we click ahead using the navigation keys at the top, if we click ahead to October, we'll see that the first weekend, we've already got 3 weekends that have large-scale community events. We've got the Nordic Walking and Run for the Cure the first weekend, the Bells Falls Thanksgiving Festival the second weekend, and then the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes the third weekend. Because of this, as a community planner in the health and wellness sector, I would then probably consider October 26th as a suitable date for my event. Once I have the details for my event, then I can connect with the Niagara Knowledge brokers, so myself or Sarah Bishop, to ensure that my landmark event is also highlighted on the NKE for others to see. So the purpose here really being thinking about what are those events that are going to change how other people might plan their events, depending on if it's a large-scale landmark event that takes up community resources, that depends on the collaboration across multiple sectors, or perhaps it's a collaboration event that really enables that collaboration to happen across sectors. So I'm thinking of conferences, workshops, working groups, that kind of thing, and you'll see that all highlighted in this calendar. If you're sitting there then thinking, okay, this is great, I can see how I can use this to plan my own activities within my organization, but how do I share what I'm doing with others? That's where we come to that push and pull of information, and this is the pull. So to submit your event, you'll see that there's this button up in the right-hand corner, and you can click on the link to submit an event. And that will take you to a form that you can fill out, and it comes directly to Sarah and myself. And we'll certainly connect back with you if we have any questions, to clarify anything before we post it onto the NKE. As well, please don't hesitate. We've put this in here so that it's intuitive for you. If you're on the site and you think, yes, I have something I'd like to share, that opportunity to do so is embedded in the site. However, at all times, Sarah, myself, and Mary are always open to just receiving an email directly from you saying, hey, I was thinking you might want to add this on to the NKE, and we'll certainly work with you on that as well. The next area of the NKE is, sorry, I saw that question come up, Kelly, and I can't not answer it. Can only paying members submit a content for the site? Not at all. No, we are absolutely depending on all members of the community to submit content, and we encourage you to reach out to us to do so. So thanks for asking that, and I kind of jumped my own cue line there. But when we get to resources and publications area, you'll see that it's the same general look and feel of the community calendar, only it's a bit of a different color scheme, obviously. As we scroll down, we see kind of the highlighted or most recently added content. The purpose of this area is to really catalog resources and publications that will support, guide, and inform collaboration and decision-making within the Niagara region. So you'd use this area to really understand trends or issues that are happening, to build business cases for projects, to identify collaborative topics across sectors, to consider how your work fits into the current context of what's happening, and then, of course, to share your publications or your resources with others. If we click on a specific resource, you'll see that the Niagara Homelessness Services Community Plan. You'll see that the format for this includes a publication date, month and year, a contact person, it's either phone number or email. Usually there's a visual of what the resource looks like, and then a description of the resource, an opportunity, a hyperlink so that you can directly download that resource. And then, like what we saw in the community calendar, there's an opportunity to click through and see related events, related projects that might pique your interest, again, depending on what content you've landed on already. If we go back to the main area of this site, you'll see that we can also filter here, like we could with the community events, by sector, by tag, by resource type, and again, by how many we view on a page. So say, for example, if I worked in the transportation sector, and I'm considering a new project, and I know that there's a grant available, but I kind of want to strengthen my proposal, I could then use the NKE to identify how my work aligns with other priorities, other local priorities. I could pull key data to strengthen my case and my proposal. I could see what other partners are interested in the topic. Perhaps someone else or another group might be interested in co-submitting a proposal together so that we can have complementary skill sets, and that's something that funders often look for. And I could also use this to identify where my topic of transportation intersects with other issues, for example, aging or economics. That's again, the push side of things. The pull side, though, is if you have a resource or a publication that you'd like to submit, you can do so in the right-hand side here, submit a resource. And again, there's a form to fill out, and that does come to Sarah and myself so that we can have a look at it and work with you to see how it can be best shared using this platform. So I'm going to take a bit of a pause there. That's about half of what we've gone through on the platform now, and we'll save the other half for 5 minutes or so. So if we can just take a break, and Liz, maybe I know that I did, out of the corner of my eye, catch some other questions coming through. Is there anything that I can address at this time?
Yes. So we just have one question or comment here from Jane Hanlon, and she's mentioned as a suggestion to submit an event, it would be handy to have tags listed with checkboxes. So I thought maybe if perhaps, Sarah, you could comment and just further explain about tagging and the website.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Jane, and actually one that our content working group was batting around recently. So right now, we're in the middle of refining our tag list. I think there's about 160 listed right now, and we are on a mission to get that reduced so that the tags that are listed are really the most relevant. We are exploring options about how we might be able to have just what you've said, where it is a checkbox where you can choose what tags are appropriate. But we also encourage, the group talked a lot about how it would also be important to still keep an other category, because we really want to hear from you, the community, about what tags would be most relevant to you. This platform is truly shaped by your needs and by your content. So if you're sending something in, so for example, Sarah and I have received some content, and we noticed that a few people had recommended that the tag sustainability was added to their piece of content, and that came up a few times. And after we saw it start to come up a few times, we thought, okay, let's add this into our tagging list. It's obviously something that's relevant to our community members. So I guess the long and the short is, great suggestion, Jane, and we are looking into it. But in the meantime, it does need to be a balance as well, because we do want to hear from you and from the community about what tags are the most relevant. Liz, any other questions?
There's no other questions submitted so far. There was just the one comment that you did address there regarding paying members, and I thought maybe if you just wanted to sort of reemphasize that.
Yes, certainly. So we will talk a little bit about, on the subscriber section of the site, what being a subscriber or a sponsor means. But the platform itself is open to our entire community, and we rely on information across our whole community. So you don't have to be a paying member to submit content for the site.
That's helpful. Thanks. I thought that warranted some extra enforcement. We do have a question here as well from Darren. What about sector-specific tags? So you could comment on the sectors there.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. And we had, the way that the tags were actually originally developed was that our Niagara Connects content working group looked across the 12 sectors and chose tags representative for each of those sectors. So what we have right now is our tag list is not organized by sector, but if you look through, you'll see that there are 2 to 5-ish tags for each sector. But we also know that some tags cross multiple sectors as well. So we're a bit hesitant to organize them specifically by sector, but if you look through, you will see that each sector is represented in the tags that are there, and that certainly some tags, as I said, do cross multiple sectors.
So I wonder if at this time anyone wanted to share a question verbally, and if so, you could just press *7 and ask your question aloud, and Sarah will be able to answer.
Hi, Sarah, can you hear me? It's Mary Wiley here. I just wanted to clarify further clarify that point about the subscription and sponsorship model.
Yep.
Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so it's important to emphasize that the subscription and sponsorship model was developed by the community. In fact, it was beta tested with 22 different community agencies. And the subscription model was set up on a sliding scale based on sort of size of organization and the number of employees. So organizations that at the base level, anyone who wants to be is a subscriber to the Niagara Knowledge Exchange. So the word subscription does not in any way reflect exclusivity. What it reflects is organizations that choose to invest in the subscription may want to do that because they have a line item in their budget for community intelligence, community engagement, and or knowledge transfer, and they want to enhance their activity in that area. It's a way to perhaps show to funders that you're fulfilling a mandate for either community engagement, accessing community intelligence, or knowledge transfer. So those organizations may choose to do that because it fits within their strategic plan. It in no way reflects exclusivity. We are looking for all Niagara partners to forward information to be shared through the Knowledge Exchange. And the knowledge broker's role is to help to make that information accessible to the Niagara-wide community. So the knowledge broker's role is to connect people to people and people to resources. So just wanted to make that really clear. And going forward, we'll be working with a number of community partners on the potential opportunity to sponsor not only the Knowledge Exchange tool, but the Living in Niagara report and other future knowledge tools that Niagara Connects may be developing on behalf of the Niagara-wide community.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary.
And we've just got one more question here that's come in. I'm just going to broadcast that to all. So Marty Mako asks, what dictates order of entries as they are shown in a given category?
Great question. So Marty, in the community calendar, events are shown. I'm just going to flip back there. Events are displayed based on what the next upcoming event is. So you'll see if we go down, August 30th, August 31st, 1st, September 6th. So these are chronological. And I should have pointed out when I was on this area that in the list view here, it only lists upcoming events, whereas the calendar view, you can see both. However, in the list view, if you want, you can click on past events in the bottom, and that shows you from the very beginning when the site was kind of launched what events have happened in the past. So in the community calendar, it is listed chronologically. In the other areas of the site, it's listed based on when content was added, with the newest added content being shown first at the top of the list.
That's great, Sarah. And I see we have someone in the participant pod with their hand raised, Bonnie, and also that she's just typed in her question. So Bonnie asks, what is the connection or crossover with Information Niagara?
Mary here, and I'd love to answer that question. So in building the Niagara Knowledge Exchange model and the tool, one of the things that the community said from the very beginning, the first community forum that we held on the topic of horizontal knowledge exchange was in November of 2010. And we had a number of presenters that illuminated how horizontal knowledge exchange can build community, including the former Chief Librarian for Canada. We had a knowledge broker, we had a digital librarian, and we had one of the folks from the region who works on the GIS mapping. So that kind of piqued people's interest in the topic, and then we had a facilitated session. That was the beginning of building the model for the Knowledge Exchange, and the invitation for those 30, that resulted in 30 volunteers choosing to build the Knowledge Exchange. And one of the messages we heard loud and clear from the beginning was that this Knowledge Exchange tool that was envisioned should be a complement to the information provided by Information Niagara. So Information Niagara provides information about community services and how people can access community services. So we've worked actually closely with them at every point along the way to make sure they've been involved in, as part of that volunteer group, to build the Knowledge Exchange. So the two tools are actually quite complementary to each other, and together they really help to build the capacity for the community, for both planning and for individuals to find out how they can access services in Niagara.
Thanks, Mary.
I think that wraps it up for questions, Sarah, for this section. Nope, I spoke. Sorry about that, Tammy. Okay, so I'm just going to get that into the chat bot here. But in the meantime, Tammy asks, I recognize that it is not necessary for agencies to subscribe. However, are the agency subscribers listed anywhere? How do you know if your agency is a subscriber? Are there any additional benefits for agencies to subscribe? And Sarah, I realize there's 3 questions rolled in one, and I'll get that in the chat pod there for you.
That's perfect. We will be getting to, I will be showing you on the platform shortly over here, subscribers, and that does list what community agencies have subscribed to date. So that will help address that. That's your first 2 questions. Are there additional benefits for agencies to subscribe? Mary, can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, I think in addition, I guess, to the ones we just outlined earlier, there is a link. When we get to the subscription area, you'll see there's a link to each of the subscribers' website. We may, depending on what each subscriber's goal is from having purchased a subscription, there will be different outcomes. So for some, they would like to see work with us on building a knowledge exchange event. So it might be a webinar, such as the one we're having all taking part in here today, but it might be on a certain topic. So for example, the Niagara Age-Friendly Community Network is already looking at mounting a webinar on a topic that will help to highlight some of the age-friendly principles and sort of help the community to better understand how age-friendly principles are social innovation, and will benefit all of us to look at our planning through an age-friendly lens. That would be one example. And I could think of hundreds more, but we don't have enough time for all of that today. So it really depends what the subscriber wants to get out of it, but the main benefits are just having a little bit of extra capacity built within the organization to access community intelligence, to better inform the organization's planning, and or the community engagement activities that come by linking in with the Niagara Connects Niagara-wide network. And then there's also the issue of knowledge transfer. So for an organization like Brock University, for example, knowledge transfer is definitely something that is a feature of their strategic planning and the work they want to do. So that just is would be a natural outcome for them in terms of a return on their investment in supporting the sustainability of the Niagara Knowledge Exchange.
Absolutely. And I'll point, as we get to that area of the platform, I'll point you to where we have more information about the difference between sponsors and subscribers and the different levels when we get there. All right, so let's keep moving on here so that we make sure that we do have time to explore the other areas of the NKE. So we've looked at the community calendar and resources and publications. Let's hop over to partners and projects. So these are really a listing of working groups, networks, projects, or councils that are either accepting new members or interested in exploring new partnerships and collaborative opportunities. You'd come to this area of the NKE if you were looking for a group to partner with on a common topic, to mobilize issues, to share resources, to replicate success, and to avoid duplication. And it's kind of timely that we talk about that given the conversation about Information Niagara. And certainly Information Niagara is listed as a partner or project on the NKE. And to be clear, these are not specifically partners of Niagara Knowledge Exchange, but they're community partners that together we all strengthen the community by being partnered with each other. So as we go down, you'll see the same format in terms of new color, but same format of a listing. If we click, for example, on Brock Niagara Health and Wellness Center, what you'll see is the date that the project or partner was added, a description of the type of work that this group is doing right now. Sometimes there's a listing of if a group has specifically identified areas where they're looking to partner or collaborate with others. And then there's a contact person or people that are listed. And this part was really important when we were looking at the development of the NKE, that we wanted to make sure that it was more than a listing of groups, but that we also helped put you directly in touch with the people that matter to you to help you do your work. Sarah Bishop and myself are certainly here as knowledge brokers, as Mary said, to help connect you to information, to resources, to people as you need it. But in addition, we want to make it as easy for you as possible. So if you're coming on and you're looking through this area and you see a group that you think, yeah, I have an opportunity, I want to explore with them, you can directly contact a key person from that group using the contact information here. You also see that there's related events, related resources, as we saw for the other areas, the sectors tags, social media sharing, and then your opportunity to navigate to previous or next as well. If you go back to the home page, of course, we can also filter by Niagara sector, by tag, or by how many projects we view at the same time. If you choose to submit a project or a partner, again, you can do so using the form provided here. So for this area, I'll give you an example of when you might use the Partners and Projects area of the NKE. So if I worked in economic development, poverty, and prosperity sector, and I wanted to host a conversation about poverty, pretty general. If I go to this area of the NKE and filter specifically by that sector, or even specifically by poverty, I can then look at other groups. First of all, I make sure that I'm staying in the know about what other groups are working in this area. It identifies groups that I might want to reach out to, perhaps for a panel presentation if I'm having this event or this conversation. And it also helps identify for me new work or innovation that's happening in Niagara so that I can profile it at my event. So you'll start to see that depending on, you can come at the NKE from multiple different perspectives and multiple different purposes. But even if you're coming at it from, you're looking at hosting an event, probably what the content in all areas of the NKE will be helpful for you in that planning and that decision making that you're taking on at that time. If we go up to the fourth area of the site, community blog, this is an opportunity here really to feature blogs either written by Niagara Connect's team members as well as community partners. But it's an area for exchange within the Niagara community about new ideas, hot topics, upcoming opportunities for collaboration. So you'd use this area to really see how new ideas might apply within your own context, to build capacity to better connect and leverage the resources in your community, and to really do some capacity building that crosses multiple sectors. So for example, we've got two blogs up right now, the first one around collective impact, and the second around knowledge exchange, and how that intersects with the word innovation, which is a word that kind of gets thrown around quite a bit lately. So by reading through this, you'll see that each blog does have an image, the date that it's published, and then the blog itself, as well as a sign-off, and any related material as well. But for example, if you're working in the learning and education sector and you're looking for ways to increase your own impact, to optimize your outcomes, to strengthen your position as a networked member within the community, you might browse topics in this area to see what others are doing And then consider how you might apply those same concepts within your own workplace. Often we kind of get our heads down, all this sticky note to-do lists that are floating around the desks and all the meetings that we have to go to. But this area is really to kind of spark some new ideas and some new ways that we can consider working together and crossing organizations as we work together, crossing sectors as we work together. So it's really an area to help build community capacity to strengthen the work that we do in the Niagara community. So those are the 4 content areas that we've spoken about. I'm going to hop over through this top navigation again to our subscribers page. So as a subscriber, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means, but as a subscriber, your organization's logo would then be listed on this page and linked to. All of these are active links to these organizations' individual websites. So they are listed here. In addition, you can become a subscriber. If we click here, this takes us to more information about how to become a subscriber or sponsor. And I think it was Tammy that asked the question. This is that next level of information that you might be looking for. So this page itself details for subscription specifically what the basic level includes, and that's what anyone on this call has access to, a basic level, and that's a free service. But then as you move up in select, ultra, and premium subscription levels, this details the type of services that those levels of subscription would include. And then at the bottom here, we've also got a description about sponsorship. So Mary had mentioned at the beginning that the Ontario Trillium Foundation is our first sponsor, and we're very happy about that. And this is information for others who might be interested in that opportunity as well, and how to contact our team to get more information.
Sarah, do you mind if I just jump in for a moment? I think it's important to just emphasize as well that part of the strength of the application that went into the Trillium Foundation for the funds to hire the Knowledge Broker service to build the Niagara Knowledge Exchange was that we made a commitment as a community collaborative that applied for the funding that we would build the sustainability model for the Knowledge Exchange. So that's partly why we set up the subscription and sponsorship model, because the community wants to see this be a sustainable tool going forward. And of course, to make it sustainable, we have to have the human resources, that is the knowledge brokers, to connect the people to people and people to resources going forward. So just thought that was a really important point to also make.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mary. So our last couple content areas is, so we've got subscribers, obviously a link to our homepage. If we click on About Us, this gives more information, background information about the Niagara Knowledge Exchange generally, and what the intentions are of the platform. But in addition, you'll see on the right-hand side here how to use this platform. So we've got Become a Subscriber Sponsor, that's where we just were, but also how to use this platform. And this gives you some of those tips and tricks that I've been talking to you about on this tour today. But as you go down here, it gives you ideas for how to make the best use of resources and publications, how to make the best use of partners and projects. So that you can consider as you go forward, you might be using the platform in one way, and then this kind of is a reminder for other ways that you can approach, or other perspectives you can use when approaching the NKE. And then of course, how to contribute to the NKE, and then for the nerds, we have all of our short keys as well, shortcut keys. So that's all of that. I think I'm going to take a breath probably now, and maybe I'll turn it over to Liz to share with us any questions that have come through, and we'll have a bit of a discussion here before we have to sign off for the afternoon.
That sounds great, Sarah. So we do have a couple questions flowing in, and we're just going to go from top to bottom if folks are okay with that. So starting with George. George asks, are you gathering information on who uses the platform, for example, businesses, social agencies, or private citizens?
That's really, this is Mary here. I thought that was a great question that you asked, George. one of the things we're doing today is after this webinar is complete, we'll analyze. We've asked people to indicate which sector of the 12 Living in Niagara sectors they work in. When you logged on to the platform today, that was one of the questions. So that's going to help us to get a handle on who's engaged today, and then maybe how we can target some of the other sectors. We're also part of the model of just orienting the community and engaging them and utilizing the tool is to work with all of our local public libraries. Of course, we've got public library systems in all 12 of the local municipalities, as well as large library systems at our post-secondary institutions in Niagara. So part of the model is to work with our librarians and our library facilities in Niagara to sort of be community hubs to extend the reach and the awareness about the Knowledge Exchange as a tool. So we also will engage with businesses through groups like the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce, the local economic development organizations, and any of the local chambers of commerce, for example. So we've only just begun down that road, and it's a case of it really building and picking up momentum over time. Of course, people working in the for social profit sector in Niagara have been a real driving force behind building the Knowledge Exchange, but the work of Niagara Connects encompasses all 12 of those Living in Niagara sectors. So the goal is to continually build the outreach and build the profile of this tool, as well as the Living in Niagara report, and again, any other knowledge tools that the community builds through the work of Niagara Connects.
And I think building on that, Mary, we have Michael here asking, how are you promoting the NKE to the public at large? So I think you touched on that a little bit. I'm not sure if you had any specific strategies you wanted to speak to about the public.
So that is a good question, and I think the discussion of the group, the volunteers who have built the platform, is that really the Knowledge Exchange is targeted to people who are wanting to do evidence-informed planning. So that might be a student, it might be an academic, it might be someone who's planning a new business in Niagara or updating their strategic plan. It could be an organization, anyone who's doing planning. It might be someone who comes in for assistance at their local library or at their, if they're a student, at their institution's library. So the idea is to reach the public who are interested in planning. I think that's really who this platform will appeal to through those different routes. And if people have ideas for how to promote or would like to help us champion it, we'd love to hear from them. And hopefully that'll be one of the outcomes of today's gathering in this webinar.
That's great, Mary. Thank you. We have David here asking if we could describe how the NKE will support the development of the next Living in Niagara report.
Well, that's another great question, and one that it's been a common thread question throughout the development of the Knowledge Exchange. I think we have a sense that the next Living in Niagara report, which by the way is targeted to be released in November of 2014, we had a Niagara Connects Council meeting yesterday where the work plan for that was approved. And there's a real acknowledgement that with the advent of the Niagara Knowledge Exchange and the fact that it is built on the 12 Living in Niagara sectors that arose from the community's building of the Living in Niagara report, that there will be a real synergy there, and the Knowledge Exchange and all of the information and data that's shared through the Knowledge Exchange will really help to inform the next Living in Niagara report. So we see a very synergistic relationship, and it will strengthen, one tool will strengthen the other. They'll each strengthen the other. So we're really excited about those, the potential there.
That's great. Nice symbiotic
yes.
circle. So we've got another question in from Kelly. Kelly asks, when is the NKE expected to launch fully? So
we had a lot of discussions around that question too, Kelly. So the idea is that the launch of the Niagara Knowledge Exchange is actually, we're in that phase now, and we've called it the community orientation phase, because part of it's not like cutting a ribbon and opening a new building. It's much different than that. We came to that realization that it's really about fanning out the awareness among the community that this is a beautiful tool that we've all built together, and the potential for it is really unlimited. And it will expand and grow as the community builds it. So in order for it to be fully launched, it will take the majority of folks who are utilizing the platform to really see themselves in the tool and see how they can use this tool to benefit their work. And as I said at the beginning, it's not just about what you can take away from the Knowledge Exchange in terms of knowledge. It's very much about how you can share and build it up by sharing your knowledge, because all of us have some working knowledge or some reports that we can share that would inform the other's work. That's really the main idea.
That's great, Mary. And I think, of course, it's an opportunity to profile the work that you folks are doing out there across the community that you know would be useful to others. And we've got another question here from Alexandra. Will there be any opportunity for informal communication between users of the NKE? For instance, put out calls for specific information or expertise.
That's another, Mary here again, that's another really good question. We just had a meeting of some of the volunteers who've built the Knowledge Exchange, especially the ones who've been really interested in how the information is classified on the platform. And we just had that meeting on Friday, and the idea of creating a bulletin board or some kind of a comment board that is kind of, I'm going to liken it, if you think of the Knowledge Exchange as a house, it'll be like a sunroom off to the side where folks could go in and ask those questions and do a shout out, that kind of thing. So we're looking at that currently and just exploring technically what it will take to build that, and then also what the dollar cost is to that, and what resources it will require to set something like that up. So that's a very timely question too.
That's great. And you'll see on the screen here, we've got the start of some questions just to hear from you folks about how this demonstration went today and get a sense of your future interests. We've got some other questions coming in from Bernice. Bernice asks, have you seen much interest or support from the 12 municipalities?
Mary here again. I think that's an area where we need to do some outreach. I see that there are a few people from some of the local municipalities on the webinar today. And again, I think that interest by some will result in interest by many, and we just need to continue with our outreach and take that one step at a time. So if any of you, by the way, have questions that you'd like to ask us or any feedback you'd like to provide privately by email, that's certainly doable as well. Our email address is on the platform. So if something sparks 12 hours from now, or maybe that would be the middle of the night, I'll be tomorrow morning you wake up and think, I should have asked this question. We'd love to hear that. So all of these ideas that are mentioned in the questions or that are intrinsic in the questions that are being asked, we're definitely going to take note of those, and we'll put that on our list for outreach. Definitely by engaging with all of the local libraries. We've met with the group that represents the CEOs of the local libraries in Niagara, and there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm for one by one us engaging with each of the local library systems to really be that local community hub for the Knowledge Exchange. So by doing that, in essence, that's a route to work with all of the local municipalities. I'm sure we could strengthen that in many ways. And if you folks have suggestions for how we can do that or can help us to open some doors, that would be great.
That's wonderful. And we have a comment from Nadine. Could we add youth as a tag? And Sarah, I thought maybe you could address that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nadine. We are struggling. I think health has been probably the most challenging sector because we know it's I mean, all sectors are complex, but certainly in health it's easy to have lots and lots of tags. So yesterday, Sarah Bishop and I were looking at our tag list, and health in particular has the most. But certainly I have seen a lot come through specific to youth, so we can look at adding that in as a specific tag. Yeah.
That's great. We've got some other really nice comments, I think, that are encouraging from some folks on the line. Kendall's commented, just wanted you to know how great I think this website is. Great work and so helpful for families in the community. And Andrew also commented, kudos to Catherine Mindorf and Mary Wiley for leading this from a vision to reality. Well done. So that's some very nice feedback that we're, of course, welcome.
A lot of teamwork, Mary here again, but a lot of teamwork from a lot of individuals who've been building Niagara Connects for over 8 years, and so there's a very wide number of people who have helped to build this tool, and that is great.
Wonderful. And we just got another comment here. Looking forward to working with you from Darren. And another comment. I'm just trying to squeeze in as much as we can with the final time here. Kathy asks, will we be able to upload video?
Yeah, it's Sarah here, Kathy. And certainly when we look at the resources and publications area of the NKE, we have the opportunity to upload not only like PDFs or presentations, but also links to third-party videos or websites as well. So please do reach out and connect to either myself or Sarah Bishop or Mary, and we'll work with you to get your content up there. So we are hitting 2 o'clock here. I wanted to say a big thank you to not only to Mary and Sarah and our great team getting this ready, but also to Liz for your fantastic facilitation in the background today. Before people log off, if you can just take a couple minutes, we have one more question after the one that's up on the screen. And these evaluation questions really do help us know how we're reaching our community and help tailor our exchange going forward. But other than that, please do reach out if you have any other comments or questions for us at any time, as Mary said. And other than that, we look forward to working with all of you going forward on lots of different opportunities. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.